Okay, welcome to our third session, which we are continuing identity and access management. Last week we discussed about identity and access management with the four important components of IAM, which is user, groups, role, and policy. Today we are continuing that principle with the hands-on. So today agenda is identity and access management, that is IAM quick overview. That means whatever we discussed, a quick recap on last week's session, such as IAM user groups, roles, and policies. And again, last week we created AWS accounts, and we are continuing today with more hands-on. And finally, we'll discuss if we have any question, and we can answer accordingly. I'm assuming that everybody has created your own AWS account. I'm giving 1 minute to you. If you have any challenges to create, let me know, so that we will address that one, then we'll move to next. Anybody has chance to create that free AWS account?
Yes, Satya.
Yes, Satya.
Okay. So anybody has any challenges in order to create your account? Okay. So nobody has any concern. That's fantastic. Okay, don't worry about the credit card. Whatever you have entered over there, it is just for verification purpose. You will not be charged. So first day you are able to see $1 charged by Amazon, but next day it will be revert back. Okay. So moving to next slide. I'm assuming that my screen is visible to everyone and my voice is clear to everyone. Okay, this is IAM quick overview. Whatever we discussed on last week, that similar kind of slide. So there is no change almost in this slide. So basically, it's a web service IAM that you can securely control your access to AWS resource. That means if you are creating one user, one group, or one role, one policy, whatever you can control. For that purpose, we are using IAM web service. Still, I'm hearing a noise from Ranga. Can you please put on mute? Okay. When you create an AWS account, it's a single sign identity to access your all AWS services. So that's why we are calling that AWS account is a root user. There are two types you can create an user. One is your Aldean user. You can create one more user. Okay, that we are going to do today. And you are separately creating your own AWS account. So there also you are considered as a user. And either way, it is called as a root user. So the IAM enables you to securely control access to AWS services and resources for your users that we discussed on last week. And you can create and manage AWS users and groups and use permissions to allow deny their access to AWS resource. For example, one resource or whether it is employee or contractor living from your organization or your project team, so you can remove their access immediately from your project perspective or your organization perspective. And if any resource is joining to your project or your organization, so you can enable that respective access to them. Okay, that's what we are talking. And you can create users in IAM and assign them individual security. You can very well manage the permissions, and we already discussed about federated users and their permissions, how the identity federation works, that we discussed on last week IAM features. Hope you may not have much questions on this slide because we discussed last week. So this is a quick overview who is an user. So an IAM user is an identity with an associate credential and permission to attach to it. And it is an actual person or could be an application that is a user. So last week we discussed again same thing, application ID where you may need that application ID for your production environment or your UAT, so that that particular ID has some privileges to use in those environments. And with IAM, you can securely manage access to AWS service by creating IAM username for each employee in your organization. That also we discussed. And this is very important. Each IAM user is associated with only one AWS account. And one more information you have to keep in mind: whenever you are creating a new user, that particular user doesn't have any access into that account. That means any services, by default it has been denied. And you have to provision what particular access they have to, so that they will get that access. So hopefully no more questions on this user, which we discussed already. And this is the screenshot we didn't discuss last week, but we are going to do hands-on on this week. So here we are creating a new user. That means odd user. You can add as many users, and you can give privileges into that next screen. Okay, so this is a group. You can assign you can create a resource and you can assign to any IAM group. Okay, a collection of IAM user is an IAM group. For example, all the developers are part of developers group. All the DBAs are part of data administrator group. So like that, you can create various groups and you can assign the resources to that relevant group. So managing group or creating group, it's not a very difficult one. It is easy task. We are going to discuss, and we are going to see hands-on how we are going to create a group. You set permission for the group, and those permissions are automatically applied to all the users in that group. For example, there are 1,000 users in a group, developer group. So whatever you are creating permissions for that particular group, developer group, so that policies or permissions will applicable to entire 1,000 users. That means you need not select particular user in that group. You need not give particular permission to that user like that. So whatever you are applying to that group, it will applicable to all the users in that group. If you add another user to the group, the new user will automatically inherit all the policies and the permissions already assigned to that group. So this is easy. Whenever you are adding a new user, already whatever the policies procedure applicable with that particular group, it is applicable to that particular user newly added resource also. You need not specifically apply anything over there. And it is not that much of burden to administrative purpose. Hope you may clear on this slide too. If you have any questions on this, please keep with you until end of the session, then we will discuss. Okay, how we are going to create a group and what are the group actions. So, and what are the privileges you are able to see on this group perspective. We are going to see in the next hands-on, but at this moment, this is the screen, how it looks like when you are creating a new group. Okay, so in the left-hand side, you are able to see users, groups, roles, and policies, identity profile, providers, and account settings, everything you are able to see. Okay, so in the previous screen, we saw user screen. Now we are into groups. So that group is highlighted over here. So whatever group you are creating here, it will be displayed over here. Okay, at this moment for pilot basis, I have created two groups. One is BA group and another one is developers group. So these two groups are displaying here. Okay, once you have created all the groups and users, you can directly go to the dashboard in the left hand side. Then you are able to see your entire dashboard. And if you want to add or modify roles or policies or groups or users, you can go ahead and do from the dashboard. But regardless, if it is confusing, don't worry, we are going to discuss in more detail. Okay, this is the policies where we are applying the password policies or any other related policies to that users and groups or roles. So policies you can be applied to the users the specific user and the specific group and the specific role. Okay, so last week somebody was asking the questions, what is the difference between policies and roles, and we already discussed. If you have any questions again, then keep with you till end of this session. Again, once again, we will discuss if we have any questions. Okay, so already we discussed that uh, where the policies are going to be stored. It is in JSON file, JavaScript object notation document. That means uh, how you are giving the permission and how it is storing in JSON. That is going to be discussed in the hands-on in after some slides. And IAM policy set permissions and control access to the AWS resources regardless of the user or groups, whatever it is. And permission means when we are talking, it is related with access the resources and what action they can perform and when. This is a simple example on S3. Policy could allow an IAM user to access one of the buckets in the Amazon S3. Okay, that means certain groups, they cannot access all the 100 buckets, whatever we are creating in the S3. They have only specific to that some bucket so that they can access only those buckets. Okay, so these are the simple information which you can remember who can access it and what actions that user can take, which AWS resources that users can access, and when they can be accessed. So everything you are able to see there, or you can set the policies, and you may have some questions over here. We will discuss later. And here a small screenshot which illustrate that what are the policies are already available and how to create a new policy and what are the policy actions applicable that we are going to discuss next. So for your information, whatever the yellow color, that cubic, all are provided Amazon created or Amazon managed policies. You can just inherit those policies for your own or whatever you are going to create a new policy. And the role. So this one also we discussed last week, but for a quick recap, an IAM role is set permission that define what actions are allowed and denied by an entity in the AWS console. We discussed. Okay, what type of user can be accessed by what type of entity? It's an individual or AWS specific services. Okay, so when we are creating the roles, that time we are going to create one EC2 role for S3 access. That time you are able to understand clearly about this point. And the role permissions are temporary credentials. For example, if you want to allow some mobile apps to use AWS services, but you don't want to save the key, credential or password, or you might want to give access to the resources who already have an identity defined outside of such users, you can authenticate through various sources such as Google or Facebook authentication. So you need not specifically give any authentication. That also we discussed last week. Okay, you also might want grant temporary access to your account to the third party such as a consultant or auditor. That also we discussed. That means there is a difference between your employee versus your consultant. For your employee, the user ID will not be expired until that employee is going to be terminated or resigned. But for a consultant, it's not like that. That user ID will expire every 90 days. So you have to renew every 90 days. If you fail, then he has to leave the organization and you have to create a separate user ID. So that is called as a temporary access to that particular account. Hope you are able to understand. So here is some screenshot. What are the policies how we are going to create the policies, and what are the policies are available here. For example, administrator access is one of the policy. So whenever I have created two groups and users, I have used this administrative access. So that's why it says there are two permission as given. Okay, so we will create policies in the upcoming hands-on so that you are able to clear your doubts. Okay, so far we have 633 policies applicable here. You can choose accordingly. And how to create a policy, here is the screen. So the JSON notation, we will see how it looks like in the next. And whenever you are creating a new service, you have to choose a service over here, then work accordingly. So I have created one policy over here called as admin. For illustration purpose, I'm sharing that screen over here. Okay, so after created, it will display like this. I have created the for S3 storage, and as soon as you have used, so the screen looks like this. You will not see that yellow one, because this is user defined customer managed policy, not AWS managed policy. So you are able to understand the difference between user managed policy or user created policy and AWS managed policy, right? And this is about multi-factor authentication we discussed last week. Login using any device or platform, and you are authenticated in various ways, more than two ways. One is fingerprint or face ID or password or OTP, whatever it is, you are validating over here. Then you are gaining the access to your network or your cloud or any other service provider. So these are the multi-factor authentication. You may have some question over here also. We will discuss next. Okay, next to aws.amazon.com, where you have to create your users groups, policies, and roles. We will discuss next. Hope my screen is visible to you. Okay, last week we have created one ID. I believe it is Kana AWS USA.
Again, Satya, try from the management console because that one doesn't even ask for account ID or alias. It just asks for your email ID and then the password. I don't know why, for some reason, with the other thing is not working.
Okay.
No, this screen also again asks for the account ID, right? The one when
Actually,
you come from the management console, it doesn't ask for account ID.
right
This
here.
one.
Yeah. It's supposed to be asked over there also. Interesting.
Can you clear the browser cache and see, like, maybe that could be the reason. Or...
And see, this time it didn't ask him the account.
Yeah.
That's a root user, right?
Yeah.
Not the AIM user. Okay.
All right. So finally, we are able to came here. So I'm changing instead of Ohio, Northern Virginia, so that somehow I see the performance is best in Northern Virginia. All right. So any questions to come to the screen? Maybe I have created so many users. That's why I don't know. As soon as we have cleared the cache, I think looks okay. So any questions to come to the screen? Don't ask me to log off and log in. What's that?
You log in as a root user, but previously what you're trying to use is that IAM user, or is there a different?
No, same root user only. Because
okay.
Last week we have created at the end of the session the root user, which are validated in the validated by the credit card. So we are good over there. Yeah. So don't ask me to log off and log in. I don't know how to log in again.
I believe, like, you have used your bookmarked link. Rather than that, this time you tried from directly typing aws.amazon.com and then tried the management console. When you do like this, like, it will never ask for the account ID. Because when I tried logging in, always I try to do like that and it never asks for account ID or alias name.
Okay, but I never used from the bookmark. Directly typed aws.amazon.com.
Because last time when you tried, the link was like different. It looks like it was a bookmark or maybe the previous history link.
Yeah, maybe previous
history.
The
history, yeah. History, like once it's clear.
Yeah, so that's why we have removed all the cache. Okay, so hope we are clear now. If you have any questions how we came to this page, let me know.
Satya, you changed the region just like that, right? From Ohio to North Virginia. So whenever we open, every time we can change to any region, whatever we want, so that it will get hosted in that particular region, or how it works.
Actually, one important, actually, thanks for bringing that point. One important information that whenever you are creating one user or group or policy or role, whatever you are performing in the IAM, it is a global. So it is not specific to one particular region. or one particular data center, whatever it is. Okay, so for example, if I have created one user Kana AWS USA, okay, wherever that means region, we are able to access from there. So whenever you are creating root user or any user, it is a global. Okay, so that is the clear point. I hope we are able to understand. But we have changed this region because I feel the performance is little bit based in Northern Virginia, but you can choose even Europe, London also. Yeah, it's not a big impact. Okay, because still you are able to use this user ID from the London location. Um, as I said, whenever you are creating any user ID, it's a global, not specific to any region. So did I answer your question?
Okay. And when you do any application of deployment, then whatever the region that you specify, it will get deployed into that available center, right? Availability center, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So for IAM, the region doesn't matter, but wherever when we go for the EC2, then the region is the one that we have to be peculiar about.
Yes. IAM, it is not related to the region specific. It is global.
Okay.
It will be
Okay. Got it.
created in the global infrastructure. But wherever you are
Okay.
creating EC2 and S3 buckets, that buckets is specific to the region.
Okay. Okay. Got it, Satya.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For example, as I asked one day related to that AWS question, you are running your streaming services only for Latin America, but for one specific day you want to give viewers a special program that too that specific to Latin America, then where you will deploy your application, that's what I have asked. Maybe somebody remember that one. So such instance is created and deployed only for that specific region, but IAM perspective it is a global. Hope we are in same page. All right. Okay, so now we are able to see all the services over here. So last week we see A to Z, that is naming convention perspective. You are able to see the list of services, and the group specific you are able to see the services over here, right? And we are going to discuss IAM, which is part of security and identity and compliance. So we are clicking IAM over here. Then by default you are able to see the screen. Okay, so whenever you have created a user, you can directly delete them. So that permission by default created given by AWS. Okay, next rest of them it's giving some signs. That means you didn't acted anything. For example, you didn't set up multi-factor authentication to this user. That's why it is displaying like this. But whenever we are updating MFA or we have provide or set the authentication, MFA authentication for this user, then you are able to see different check mark like this. Give me a moment. Okay, someone is trying to do something. I know who just did this one. It is not okay. Thank you. Right. And again, if you're not speaking, please put on mute. All right. So now we can create the users and we can set up the multi-factor authentication for this one. Okay, let's set up multi-factor authentication first. Then we will go to create users and other things. So manage MFA. If you click that one, okay, click here to change the password, name, email address. Okay, that is the password related. Multi-factor authentication. So activate multi-factor authentication. If you click here, what kind of can you please put on mute? I'm able to hear my voice, which is very bad.
Satya, you can mute everybody.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to talk, they can unmute.
Right. Okay. So there are three types of MFA device you can assign. One is a virtual multi-factor authentication device that is advisable other than you are just carrying the hardware or other security method. Okay, you may have some questions in between. So okay,
How to
whenever
get
you
that?
have question, just unmute and ask me question. Yeah. Right. Okay, virtual MFA device. When you set up here, click here. This will show a QR code. Okay. Before that, as I said last week, you please download Google Authenticator from Google Play Store or your Apple App Store. So if you click here, it will be install button. Already I have installed on my phone. That's why it shows installed. But you are able to see the icon like this. Okay. And as soon as you will install in your smartphone or tablet, whatever. Okay. Then you are able to click open and you come to here and show click QR code. And as soon as you are clicking the QR code, you are able to see a screen. I will show you how it looks like. Okay, I'm authenticating this user now using my phone. Okay, I have scanned the barcode and I'm enabling the two consecutive MFA code as below. One is this code is displaying to me 930624, and I'm waiting for next code to come up. You have to wait around 30 seconds to get refreshed. Okay, now I got my another code 939736. That is my next code, and I'm assigning my multi-factor authentication. As soon as I click, so I'm able to see you have successfully assigned virtual multi-factor authentication. Okay, this virtual MFA will be recorded during the sign-in. Okay, that means we have successfully authorized MFA. Okay, and before going to the next step, whenever you are seeing the barcode like earlier, Okay, you have to capture that screenshot somewhere in the secured place, because you have to authorize sometimes if you miss your password or whatever it is. Okay, now just to go back to the dashboard, where you are able to see we have successfully set up multi-factor authentication to your root account. Okay, so you can manage again once again, but we already did that one. Okay, so here virtual, and this is the serial number where you have used to set up your MFA. Okay, if you click manage, you are able to see remove and resync button. If you click remove, that whatever you have given the device, it will be removed. Or resync, okay, you can use this one only for this UTF security keys, but at this point we have set up, and you need not remove now, or you need not resync. Okay, so this is MFA, and again going back to that dashboard. Okay, here, okay, you are seeing two roles over here. No users, no groups we have created, no customer managed policies we have created, no identity providers. Okay, only two roles. Okay, so what are the roles? What is IAM role? That we will discuss later. But at this point, we have only two roles. Whatever is by default created by the AWS. AWS service role for support, AWS service role for trusted advisor. These are the two roles. By default, it will be created whenever you are creating the root user. Okay, now one quick information for you. You are able to see one IAM user link here. Okay, you are able to update this link. That means you can customize this link. Okay, how to customize? Just click here, and what are the account allies you want to specify, instead of this just a random link. Okay, just click customize, and this this account ally is supposed to be a unique name, which somebody should not use earlier. Okay, for example, this is the customized allies name I'm going to give. If it is not there already, then it will be accepted as new one. Otherwise, it says it exists like that. For example, if I'm creating now here, okay, it's checken as whatever we have given the name. Earlier, some numbers was there, but now you are able to see whatever the customized name we have given. This name was not exist, so now we have given, and it was accepted. Okay, hope you are able to understand. Okay, so now we see how we can customize the IAM user link. Okay, next we will create a user, IAM individual user. Okay, where you will go here, click here. So far we have succeeded activating my multi-factor authentication, and whenever you are creating a user, by default you will be activated this option, delete your root access keys. Okay, next create individual IAM users, where you are creating a new user. Click manage users. As soon as you are clicking the manage user, you will see the screen as we specified in this uh, presentation. This screen. Okay. Now we are creating a new user, odd user. Okay. So here we are creating a new user. For example, Can someone tell some name?
You can say IAM user 1 or something.
Okay. Okay, what kind of access type you are going to give for this particular user? Okay, programmatic access. Okay, that is it enable access ID, access key ID, and secret access keys for the AWS APIs and SDKs and other development tools, and AWS management console access, where you are able to enable password that allows user to sign in the AWS management console. Okay, if you are not giving this option, they are not able to log in into management console. Okay, here you are setting the password. Okay, auto generated password, whatever they it will generate and it will send to them. Okay, and whenever they are logging the first time, they have to change their own password when they are next sign in. Okay, but this time we will give some password. For example, I am giving IAM user 1. That's the user ID, but password, for example, IAM user at 123, like that, so that we are able to remember the password. If you are not giving customized password, if you are creating auto generated, then auto generated password will send to their email ID. Okay, hope this screen is fine for you. Okay, I'm creating one user here. The username is IAM user 1, and I'm giving 2 access type, and I'm just customizing the password as IAM user at 123, and I'm not. I'm okay. I'm leave it as user must create a new password at next sign in, so that next time when we are signing, it will ask that one, that password. Okay. Next, permissions. Okay. So still we didn't created any group, and we didn't order that particular user to that any group. So now we are creating a group here. Okay, so we have several groups which we have the policies. That means there are 515 policies, that is AWS managed policies here. I'm going to create a new group called as a developer, and I'm going to assign that user into that developer group. Okay, what are the access the policies they can access? Okay, for example, administrator access we have, where we can see provide full access to the AWS services and resources. Okay, and if you are able to see, you are giving the full access to that resource whosoever you are adding here. Okay, if you see the JSON notation here, you are able to see the effect is allow. As I said earlier, we will see the JSON how it looks like. So here it's stored in this manner. Okay. Okay, next, going back to that policy summary. Okay, we are giving full access, and we are coming to in the top. I'm choosing this administrative access, so that whenever I'm creating a group with the developer, and we are giving the full administrative access to that particular group, that is developer group. Okay, and you are able to see here various full access for that particular administrative policy. Okay, let's just, we are creating a group. Okay, you have created a group, and you have attached one policy that is called as administrator access policy. Okay, next you can create one more group here if you like, and if it is not displayed here, after creation, then just you can click refresh button. Whatever the group we have created, it will be displayed here. Okay, next tagging. Okay, here this is optional. If you want to tag any particular user or anyone, you can add just that key over here, or you can just leave it and go to the uh, review. So here we are creating a new user that is called IAM user 1. Okay, it is access type is both. Access type we have given, password type is custom. Okay, that means we have given our own password. Whenever user is login their first time, they have to change the password, that is reset their password. We didn't set any permission boundary yet. Okay, but we will set later. Okay, and developer group, that developer group has full IAM user change word policy. Okay, next, create user. Okay, now we have successfully created one user. Okay, so that user name is IAM user 1. They have access key ID, this ID, and access key, you can see what is that access key. And if you send on if you click the send email, okay, whatever the that register user details, that information will go to that email. Next, we can close this. So you are able to see in the dashboard we have created one user. Okay, if you want to delete that user, just click and click delete user, but at this moment we are not going to do, because we are going to work based on this user. Okay, now you have created a user. Okay, and still we didn't not enabled multi-factor authentication. Last activity none. Password age today only we have created, and access key age none at this point, because the user is not yet logged in at this moment. Okay, one thing you have to notice, as soon as we have created, it shows into the global instead of Virginia or whatever it is, because IAM does not require region selection. Hope got my point now. Okay, now let's log off, sign off, and we will try to log in through that user whatever we have created just now. Okay, it's asking MFA code. So I'm entering MFA code for that root user. Okay, I will show you next how we can log into that user, whatever we have created user. Okay, here we are able to see create IAM user, that is tick mark, and we have created a group that also a tick mark. So if you see, we have created one user, one group, and two roles by default we have, and we have changed the customized link. Okay.
Satya, are you trying to log in using the user which we created?
Yeah, actually, I'm not able to get that.
Yeah, you gave the account alias, right?
Yeah, but still,
Kana
for example,
AWS USA, and you just give only
that,
IAM user 1 and then password, I guess.
actually here we have created that. Okay, here.
Satya, this is Shanmugam. Satya, you have that URL, right? Console URL, which is generated. You have to use that console URL and give that password IAM user 1 and
Even we can do that as well. Yep.
yeah. Then only you can able to log in. Log in with the root.
Yeah, I'm able to log in. Okay. So here we have to give old password. Okay. So why we are getting this screen means whenever we are creating the user, we have tick mark that user must log in, must you change the password or reset the password when the first login. That's why. So now we are giving that old password IAM user at 123 whatever we have given, and the new password. Okay, what password we can give? Some password I'm giving. Kana AWS USA at 003. Kana AWS USA at 0303. Confirm password change. Okay, we have changed the password successfully. You need permission for what? You don't have permission to access billing information to this account contact, or if you need it. Okay, that's fine, but still we are able to change the password. Okay, so if you see, we have IAM user 1. So that is the Kana USA, that is the root user. Okay. Here apply IAM policy. manage password policy. Okay, set password policy. Here, how much characters you need to give for password. You can change as 6 or 8, whatever it is. Okay, at this point we have given 6. Now I am changing 8. Record at least one uppercase letter. If record, you can click record at least one lowercase letter if you want. Okay, yes. Record at least one number. Yes. Record at least one alphanumeric character like @ symbol or exclamatory symbol. Yes. Enable password expiration. Yes. After 30 days or 90 days, whatever it is. I will set as 60 days. Password expiration record. Administrator reset. No. Allow users to change their own password. Yes. Prevent password reuse. Yes, I don't want to user change or use that same password always same. So in that case, I don't want to user. I don't want to allow user to change their recent their 5 passwords. Okay, consider I'm changing as 3. Okay, so these are the password policies we are setting for this user, and I am applying save changes so that the password policy has been updated. Okay, if you want, you can change the password policy or you can delete the password policy. Okay, so if you see here, global endpoint active, all everything is active for this particular IAM user. If you go back to the dashboard, you are able to see all the green mark. Okay, that is we have created access keys and IAM policy. We have created permissions and we have assigned that permissions. We have created users and we have set up multi-factor authentication for that particular user. Okay, I'm stopping here.
Satya, one question.
Yeah.
Did we set the multi-factor authentication for IAM user?
Yeah.
We did it?
Yeah, this one is for root, we already have it.
Okay.
Okay. And if you click here, it will be disabled because it's already set by for this particular root user.
Okay, it's a root user.
Yeah.
It is inheriting from root.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So next week we will discuss about how we will create roles and policies. You may have some question. We will discuss again about these policies, creating the policies. At this point, we have created groups and users. You are able to see here the updated information, last activity today, password change today. Okay, for this particular user, MFA is not enabled. Okay, so if you click here, okay, you can set boundary over here also. Okay, we will discuss more on this one and how to enable MFA. If you have any challenges, we will discuss next. But at this moment, what you have to remember, how to create a user, how to create a group, and how to assign that particular user to this specific group, and what are the policies and how we are setting the policies, and what is the roles. Still we didn't created any roles over here, but we are going to discuss on next week. So these are the things we discussed, and open questions now, and if you have any question, feel free to ask me.
Satya, I think that MFA we have to enable for each user, I guess, right? So
Yeah.
maybe under that user you have an access under
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
under credentials or something where we can enable, I guess, correct?
Yeah,
Same like
we
a
will.
root account.
Yeah, already I have created 10 users, and I have given separate MFA for each user. It is working fine. I will
Okay.
explain you.
Okay, you have here. Okay.
Yeah. Identity created for this particular user for this Kana USA, this root user, but I have created for my own thing. Okay, MFA code, that is at this moment 5. No, it is going to change. Okay, now it is 527180, and it is easy to set up MFA. So if you have any questions, you can ask me anytime. And
so that MFA setting is actually, yes, I think I'm trying to understand. So it can be set either device or whatever device or whatever virtual, or it's unique to each user, right?
Yeah, but for it has some advantage. For example, I have created one user that is called as a PS Satya 77. Okay, underneath I have set up MFA for this one using my same mobile device. Okay, and after that I have created users, and for that users I have set up the MFA in the same device. So if you see, I will try to capture the screenshot and send to my phone. Okay.
So you can use same device, or you can use different device as well, correct?
No. For example, if you are creating 10 users, we can't use 10 devices, right? Okay, so I have created these two users. Okay, so for one user I have set up MFA. You are able to see, right?
Correct, yes. That is
Okay.
virtual.
Yeah, virtual. So that same device I have used. Okay, actually in my phone there are 3.
So for Lakshmi, if I want to use not a virtual, some other device or something, still I can do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
For example, I have created MFA for 3 users. One is PS Satya 77, that is the root user, and Srinivasan, that is the user which created by this root user. And I have created one more root user called as a Kana AWS USA today, right? So all 3 I set up. I will show my screen how it looks like. Then you are able to understand.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so now I sent one email to myself, and you are able to see. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 3 MFA running in my phone. Okay, one is
okay, got it. Each one has your okay.
Yeah, one is that PS Satya 77. That is the root ID, root account, and another one is Srinivasan, which is the user which created in the PS Satya 77 root user. And I have created one more root account, Kana AWS USA just now. That is this third one. That is MFA. If I want to create one more user using any of the root, or I am creating one more root, then I can just click here. Then it will display enter the key or scan the QR code. Okay, as soon as you are able to capture that QR code, this one more button will display like this.
Okay, so the same process needs to be repeated for each
Same
user.
process.
Okay.
So you can have as many MFA in the same device.
Satya, the QR code you're talking about is the one you showed when you created the root user as part of the MFA. That's a QR code we have to save?
Yes.
Okay. One more question I have. You created IAM user 1 and with the default password, and when you logged in, it forced you to change the password.
Yeah.
Then you created password policy. Would that not apply to the IAM user?
What we did after changing the password, we came into that policy update. Okay.
Okay.
If you are changing the password now, you have to that new policy will be applicable to change that password.
Got it. Thank you.
But first time itself, we are not able to change the password because that means we cannot apply the policy because directly it is asking the change the password, right? Because we set like that.
Yes, yes. When you created the user, you set it like that. Yeah. Okay.
Any questions?
Hey, Satya. So all the IAM users that you have created, it's all coming under the root user.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see like I am user 1 or user 2 at the PS Satya or like Kana AWS. So everything is coming under the root user. But in one of the slides, it's been mentioned that any IAM user you create, that must need to have a AWS account. But we haven't created separate AWS accounts, and we have just created the user under the root account. So
Correct.
What is happening? So whenever you create IAM user, does it internally creating the AWS account for the user, or how it works?
Absolutely, yes. So
that's
why
for the IAM user 1, the AWS account being created with credentials like IAM user 1, but the alias name has to be the root user alias name.
Exactly. Yes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
If you create a user like that, there is no separate validation is required like a credit card or anything because it's created by the root user.
Okay, that's how like if I start a company, then I'll create one root user with a credit card details, and then for all my employees like whoever works in my company, then I'll just add them. We'll give just the username, and whatever the resource they access, that's all charged to my the root user credit card.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So does the user the user won't be treated as a separate AWS account? It's just like part of the root user account.
Exactly. Yeah, but still, it will consider separate AWS account because once you have created your one user, he or she is going to use their particular credentials, right?
Particular credentials, yes.
For example, you have created IAM user 1 and you are assigning to one person.
Password. Okay.
Okay. So
but
indirectly,
still the alias.
Yeah.
But still the alias name is the same as the root user alias name, right?
Correct.
Then how it's been treated as a separate account? Because alias name still comes under the root user alias name.
No. Let me clarify. Okay, you are running an organization and you have hired 100 people, and all 100 people you are creating your own user, correct?
Yes, I'm just creating a username and password.
And you are sending them email. This is your username and password, or whatever it is, correct?
Yes.
And since then, they will manage their own. Okay, they are not creating their own AWS account here, but created by you through root user, and they are going to access separately with their credentials. For example, if password lockout, they will contact you because you are the root user for them. Then you are
So
updating their
then,
password. Yeah.
okay, then I can manually update their password. So it's basically like the root user is admin and they can control all the users
Exactly.
in that,
Yes.
even though they are, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Is there, can you show like how we can even reset the password for the user? Is
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
any screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can. Okay. So I'm not sure everybody may be running short of time.
Yeah, but that's fine. Yeah, it made very clear now. Thanks, Satya.
No problem. Any questions?
Satya,
There is
you
only one root
customize.
account, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
There is only one root account per AWS account, and only root can create other IAM users. IAM
Yeah,
user cannot
correct.
create anything. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
So Satya, like when the user can reset the password by themselves, right? Only the root user has to reset the password. Like when I say forgot password, where does it go? Is it going to the root user?
Okay, when you click the forgot user, that link, it will come to your email ID. Okay. So you can click that link and you can that means enter the multi-factor authentication ID. Then it will ask you to change the password.
So in that case, the root account need not to be doing all the work, right?
No. Yeah. But for example, you are changing the password for every 60 days, but they want to change your password every 30 days. Then that policy is set by your root account.
Correct. At the end of the 60 day, it prompts you to change your password. That's
Correct.
all, right?
Yeah. Does it clarify you?
Yeah. So earlier, like someone was asking, and then like I understood that like the root user, the root account has to reset the password. So that's
yeah.
Satya, this is Anand. I have a question. So when we created the AWS user one, and then we are going to send an email to them, that user, and so that they can log in. So where is that association? So that AWS user one and then the email ID they're going to use, where is that association happening?
Where is associated means you mean
that new user? We didn't send an email last time, but typically what we do is when we create a user, we will send an email to that developer or whoever it is. And then
no.
What I meant to say is like we have a mapping somewhere, that email ID and then the developer account.
Yeah, actually, while creating the user itself, like, there was one screen like where it was asked for the email ID, but I think like Satya just skipped that one. Otherwise, you can specify the email ID over there, and then the link will be sent to that email ID.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Satya, earlier you customized the console link. It had some bunch of numbers. You used to customized it. When do you use that link?
Okay, as soon as you have created a user, you can customize that one.
Once you customize, when do you use that? Where do you use it?
Okay, for example, okay, your question is when I'm going to use that customized link?
Yes.
Or where I'm going to use, or both?
Both.
Okay, so you can just copy that link and send to the user so that it is meaningful link to the user.
Okay.
And even they can directly paste that link into that browser where it will ask user ID and password. They can directly give and go. That's all.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Yes, I have one more question. When you look at when you log in as the temp user, it says temp like the AWS the user you just created, and it's saying at Kana USA, Kana AWS USA. me, when I tried it, like it's giving the account ID 686688. But how did you create that alias? I think I missed some step. It's still like able to log in, but for me it's showing the account ID instead of the alias.
Okay, the account ID will be generated automatically by AWS. So then, okay, correctly understanding, when after creating the user ID, when you log in, it is asking it is generating the number. That's what your question?
At the top, it shows currently in your screen. It's saying psatya77, and that's. I think I assume this is an admin root user. But when I logged in as a developer user, it's for me it's showing that developer user at account number. But on your screen, it's showing me. I was seeing its alias name. It's saying Kana USA, AWS USA.
If you go to the dashboard, he is asking about that. If you go to the dashboard, the first link, IAM users sign-in link.
You ready?
Okay.
If you, okay. I think you're still in your. This is the root account, yeah. In this one, but where do you? This is the account ID is you have 99, but somewhere you are specifying that account ID has an alias. Some.
So you are asking here.
When can you log in the user you just created? Then I can able to.
Okay, I have created the Srinivasan, that is the user ID. I will try to log in that.
Okay, yeah.
You are trying to sign as a root user.
Okay, so okay, can we take that question next week, because I have to rush for.
Yeah, sure. I will.
Okay, any other questions? We will discuss next week. So if any very urgent, I need to know now itself, that kind of question you can ask now. Otherwise, we'll discuss next week.
Okay. Thanks, Satya, for your time.
No problem.
Thank you.
We will discuss next week. Yeah.
Thank you, Satya.
Thank you so much.